Hello and welcome to the LRM podcast, sponsored by Adrian Flux Insurance. I'm Martin Dominic.
And I'm Steve Miller.
And you join us for an hour of chat about Land Rovers and everything to do with owning them. How you feeling then, Steve? We've had a bit of a full-on week already, haven't we?
Well, I can't believe we're sitting here on a Friday because it feels like, I don't know, Thursday or something.
Yeah, my mind, my brain's upside down. I ache all over still.
Why is that? Because you're on a day's work.
A day's work?
2 days' work.
We set the ambitious task of rechassis my Series 3 in 2 days with, you were on video duty. Tom was...
I was on clean hands duty.
You certainly were. I don't think you got a speck of dirt on you all day.
I did at the end.
Did you?
I sped out your driveway.
Oh, and
let's go home.
And when you cooked the sausages.
Yes.
You were on...
Another excuse on the barbecue, to be honest.
Definitely. But no, we had high hopes for getting that done in 2 days, and to be honest, we hit a couple of stumbling blocks, didn't we? We didn't quite achieve it, but...
Well, hang on, right? So you say you didn't achieve it, but define rechassying a Land Rover. Is your Land Rover movable on its own wheels?
On its own wheels, not under its own power.
What I liked is you've got further in 2 days as I have in 3 years.
Yeah, we did point that out numerous times.
Like 4 years, I can't remember.
Yeah, so we wanted it to look like a Land Rover again, and we wanted it to run and drive, and we didn't quite get there. We will go into, obviously, a lot more detail on our YouTube channel and in the magazine when the time's right, but it was a cracking couple of days, wasn't it?
Some companies, right, would pay money to have 4 guys around the chassis building a Land Rover. It's like a kind of team building.
Yeah,
it's kind of, but hey,
corporate nonsense.
That's a really good business idea, right? You know, like these sites where you go like rock climbing, build a raft, and then you sabotage. The ultimate. Having said that, they did do that, didn't they? In Res Restore.
Yeah,
well, that's kind of what the Res Restore concept was, wasn't it? So you get a Land Rover and you get guys.
Yeah, it's a community project, isn't it, for charity? I mean, we were...
But we could do it where people pay us to build yours and my others.
A new business prospect.
Yeah, so we go out.
Oh, so we buy the Land Rover. And
so we pitch it to these big corporate places, the ultimate mechanical team building exercise.
Right.
So you provide a barbecue and you little camp and some beers. They all pay like £500 plus the VAT per head.
Right, I'm going to throw this out there, Steve.
Right, throw in a bit of raft building to
and you think you'll be left with a usable vehicle afterwards, do you?
But then you come along and they can't. How much can they get wrong? Anyway, right? Seriously, right? That's a good idea.
You've got high expectations for people that don't have anything to do with land.
Yeah, right. What's the going rate in a garage? Right, so you charge £500 plus the VAT per head for camping accommodation, team building with a bit of raft building and stuff like that, canoeing or something, a barbecue. And they build the Land Rover. How much would you have to just only pay a garage, say anywhere between £50 and £100 an hour, to put right what they did wrong? Bargain.
I think all the money you'd get from the people would be spent putting it right. But
anyway, that aside, we did have a cracking couple of days, and it just shows with forethought, because you did think about what potentially would come up.
Yes, yeah, we did. We wrote, between Neil Watson and I, we did write a little plan, and I did spend a bit of time lubricating, cleaning up bolt threads and applying oil, things like that.
You were super organised, I'll give you that. I mean, to have that sort of like list of timeline of things, that I would never do. I would just take things, as you know, take things to pieces, put it in boxes and hope for the best.
I think without that, especially given the time constraint, we would not have achieved much at all. But actually, overview, we basically took all the bodywork off, got the engine and gearbox out, got the axles off the old chassis. Was that the first day?
Yeah,
they were.
The whole thing was just a bare chassis, apart from a few brackets left behind.
Yeah,
on the chassis. Yeah, it was a bare bones. Yeah,
and then the next
that drove on your driver that morning, and by the end of the day, it was a bare chassis. Turned it on.
I had to swing it round, didn't I? So then the next day it was axles, changed the springs, didn't we? Put Britpart parabolic springs on.
Spoiler alert, Martin ordered the wrong shock absorbers or dampers to be.
I did. Basically, it was a faux pas on my part because I wanted 3-leaf rear springs, which are a bit lighter than you would normally fit on a long wheelbase. They normally go 4-leaf on the back. because I ordered them as a kit with the dampers, 3-leaf springs are for a short wheelbase, so they came with the wrong shock absorbers. So
Okay.
thankfully Britpart kindly sorted me out the right ones, and we could sort of continue. But there were a couple of other stumbling blocks, weren't there? There was a snapped off manifold studs, which I've got to deal with.
Just goes to show, one snap stud is potentially hours worth of pain, isn't it? So taking your time and lubricating all the nuts and bolts and everything beforehand made your job a lot easier.
Well, I knew that stud, one of the manifolds, being V8, one of the manifolds, the studs were a bit tired on it, but one snapped off. And then, I was out the second day we were doing it in the pouring rain, first thing in the morning, trying to drill it out. And actually, I thought after that, this is just going to hold us up. So I'll take the manifold off and take it to
And the weather did play a part on Tuesday. By the time you dried out,
it was horrible.
It dried out during the sort of lunchtime-ish, didn't it? Midday.
Yeah.
And by the time you got fully dry, you got soaked again as it rained in towards the evening.
It was raining pretty hard, wasn't it, in the morning? And then, like you say, it dried up, and then it started again in the evening. And by the time I went inside, I was just saturated to the bone. And pretty, I was happy with how far we got. But the other thing that happened was we lifted the bulkhead off, didn't we? And one of the bulkhead feet was attached to the sill rail. It had completely come off the end of the bulkhead.
Of course, yeah.
So,
which are things you can't foresee. The vehicle in question is 50 years old.
1970.
It's even older than me.
Well, that's saying something,
I know.
isn't it? Wow.
I know.
But
Don't know which one's fared best, to be fair.
No comment. But yeah, other than that, to be fair, 2 setbacks on a 50-year-old vehicle, not bad going.
No, not bad going. And it just goes to show, really, I was going to say, what can be achieved in just 2 days.
Yeah. With Neil is like, I call him the series whisper.
He knows a lot.
He knows the ins and outs of series vehicles like no one else I know. He really is hot on it, and that shows when you come to take them apart. And I'm a relative newcomer to series stuff. It's only, I think I got my first one in, I don't know, about 6 years ago. Before that, I've always had Defenders and Discoveries and things like that. So the leaf sprung stuff is like not exactly my forte, whereas he loves it.
But that said, stick you and Neil in a workshop and come in with a faulty Discovery 3, you'll be all over that.
Oh, yeah.
So
horses for courses.
There's another business idea. You and Martin, the ultimate Land Rover garage.
What, Neil does all the series stuff and I do the new... Well, yeah, maybe.
And I'll do the... I don't know. I'll answer the phone.
Sit at a desk and moan about your back, yeah.
Yeah. I'll organise the £500 a day corporate day.
Yeah, great, okay.
I reckon people would sign up for that. It's an alternative, seriously.
Anyway, we had a cracking couple of days, and coming soon to the LRM YouTube channel and to the magazine. So keep an eye out for that. It was good fun, and we'll have to continue it and get it back together soon.
Yeah.
Once the bulkhead's repaired and the stud is fixed. But I'm getting to it.
Oh, yeah. Should we mention the bulkhead?
Oh, you can tell that story if you like.
You see, the only thing I didn't have in my hand was a screwdriver because I love poking rust in cars that I don't own.
Yeah.
Terrible. Well, terrible hobby to have.
Everyone's got to have a hobby, haven't they?
Yeah. That's probably why I've got no friends, because I've poked holes in all their cars. But, when you took the windscreen off, I was filming that process.
Yeah.
And I was first to see the slightly aerated bulkhead side.
It's got some ventilation in the top rail, hasn't it?
So where the windscreen sits against the rubber seal, that's a notorious rot spot, which, to be fair, you couldn't see from outside.
It looked fine, didn't it?
It's hidden. So just bear that in mind if you're looking at a vehicle.
Yeah.
Project-wise, you're not really going to know it's there.
Peeled the rubber seal up, didn't we, after taking the windscreen frame off, and some bulkhead came with it.
Yes.
But it's all fixable. We'll get there.
Yeah. Dustbin and brush sorted that out.
Yeah, it's fine.
But, we've had, haven't we, a couple of really good listeners' questions.
We certainly have, yes. The first one is from a man named Will. Doesn't want us to include his surname, and that's fine. Will says, I absolutely love the podcast. You can't beat Land Rover chat. I completely agree. I've got a question for you. What's a realistic price for Discovery 1s nowadays? He goes on to say, I recently bought a 1997 Discovery 1 300 TDI manual in Coniston Green.
Good choice.
£5,500.
Possibly not such a good choice.
Well,
I don't know. Let's hear the rest.
let's hear him out.
Yeah.
Here it says, it came with some mods: a roof tent, a big awning, 2-inch lift, Cooper all-terrain tyres, light bar winch and a winch bumper. I shook the man's hand as I didn't want to miss the opportunity on such a beautiful truck. I did try and haggle, but he didn't move on the price. As time's gone by, I've been keeping an eye on the market and I can't help but feel I might have overpaid, especially as it has a lot of rust and corrosion in all the usual places, so it's hardly mint. Some Discovery ones are as little as £1,000 and some are trying to get £3,000 to £4,000 for off-road toys, and fully restored ones are up to £12,000. Are all these people putting their prices up, just throwing a number out there and hoping it sticks? And what would you be willing to pay for a Discovery 1? Yeah, that's it basically. So
really good questions. Number of questions in there. Initially, when I have obviously read the email before you've read it out just now, £5,500 does sound rather a lot for something, in my opinion, that's been modified in that way. If it's been modified in that way, it's probably been round some pay and play sites. May have been, or it's been used for purpose, isn't it? But it's got the roof tent.
This is it. It's got all terrain, so it's not on like big, aggressive rubber. It's got a 2-inch lift, which might have been fitted to counteract some of the weight of the roof tent and the awning.
That 2-inch lift isn't actually that significant. It's when you go all out with cast and corrected arms,
5-inch bodge blocks and things like that. So on the face of it,
well, think about So let's look at the top down. So the rooftop tent, you can probably spend anywhere between, for a brand new tent, £800 all the way up to,
well, the sky's the limit.
The sky's the limit. So yeah, literally with a rooftop tent. So yeah, the chances are on a Discovery 1 of that ilk is probably something like a mid-range tent.
Yeah,
let's say £1,500.
Yeah, £1,500 to £2,000.
Yeah. So there are a number of used rooftop tents on the market now. Mm-hmm. People who bought them didn't like it. They're not all Land Rover people, are they? That bought rooftop tents.
No, you see them on all sorts.
Yeah. Lots of people call them tent boxes, don't they?
Well, tent box is a brand.
It's a brand, but they refer to any rooftop tent, a bit like a Hoover and a vacuum cleaner.
Yeah.
They refer to them as, look at that tent box.
Yeah.
So it's amazing how branding sinks into people's heads. Anyway, it's Coniston Green. It's a good choice.
I love Coniston Green.
And he'll only lose money on that car if he sells it.
It's 3-door as well.
A 3-door. You see, 3-doors are quite rare in that sort of vintage, aren't they?
I had a 3-door for a few years and I loved it because they're a little bit unique, but they aren't half useless for getting people.
Yeah, they are. They're a pain in the backside.
Right.
Cool truck.
I would say this. I'm going to stick my neck out and I'm going to say I don't think you would have paid over the odds for it if it didn't have rust.
Yes.
Because for that,
good point, really.
That model, 300 TDI manual, 3-door, nice.
Does it say how many miles it's got?
No, he doesn't mention that.
It's not included in pictures. So when Discovery 1s can look really scabby, can't they?
Well,
really untidy.
Once you get that electrolysis, the aluminium going powdery under the paint and like all the door seals all like fraying, splitting, they can look a bit manky. He says it's a really, really nice one. He said it's beautiful were his words.
Now, she loves it then. So
yeah. Oh, yeah. I mean, what you said was really, really relevant. He's only going to lose money. You only lose money on a vehicle if you sell it.
So the value in that car is the use and the enjoyment he gets from owning it. There has to be, you have to value that.
Yeah, definitely.
And there is a monetary value to the joy that something gives you.
But also, if you've bought one that needs sills, front inner arches, rear body cross,
it's not such a cool purchase. And this is for the inexperienced viewer of a used Land Rover, right? They might be sold on the chunky tyres and all the nice bits, and just don't see past it, and then get lulled into buying something. The fact that I've sold a Discovery 1 in the past myself, actually, and I didn't budge on my price at all because I was confident it was worth every penny.
Yeah.
And because of my confidence, the guy said, can't argue with your price. It's worth that, because I had a very, very solid, forget which green it was, probably was, it wasn't Coniston green, but it was
Epsom.
Epsom, that's it.
Yeah.
Three door.
Lovely.
Really, really lovely. And I kind of wish I'd kept it, because it wasn't rotten. It had no rust.
That's amazing.
Yeah. And it was low mileage.
Yeah, I mean, I think, to be fair to Will, if he's going to keep it, if he's really got big ideas and trips that he wants to do, and he wants to go green laning and camping and all that, Swallow, I mean, you've done it now. You've spent the money. You won't get that back if you try and sell it as it is. Invest money in having the rust done. Rust-proof it properly. Brilliant guide in the October issue of LRM on how to properly keep rust at bay with Dinatrol.
Yes.
Our friend Dinatrol. Complete with discount code, so be sure to check that issue out. And just, you've got to swallow that bitter pill of having the rust sorted out. Once you've done that, the 300 TDI is bulletproof. Just enjoy it. Enjoy it and don't worry too much. Because if you go through life...
You can get hung up on value.
Yeah.
And, I mean, you could always chop it in for a modern car on PCP, and you'll kiss goodbye to £4,000 or £5,000 in a year. You have nothing left at the end of it. Whereas, at least with this, go away for a week in, I don't know, somewhere like the Lake Districts or something. Holiday costs would cost you best part of £1,000 a week.
Yeah.
So you've already got your accommodation on your roof.
He also obviously mentioned some disco ones are as little as £1,000. Some of them people are trying to get £3,000 to £4,000 for off-road toys. I bet you, I've done this numerous times. You go on Facebook Marketplace, you look at a disco 1 or 2 with chunky remolds and a popcorn map or a smoky map and snorkel, and the arch is cut out with a pair of scissors, and you do a MOT history check, and it's like had advisories on rust for about the last 16 years.
I would even begin to look at that price point now, because I just don't think you're going to get something that ultimately is a car that you could rely on.
No, I agree. And fully restored ones, they're going to make that money, because look at how Range Rover Classics have got.
They'd probably cost $25,000 to get them to the standard.
The amount of labour it takes to properly restore. Emrys Kirby's doing one for classic Land Rover, isn't he? GWAC early discovery, and the amount of hours he's putting into that, as well as all the parts. You're never probably going to see that money back. But what a lovely thing to have when done, and it's preserving history, isn't it? People are willing to pay for that.
Yeah.
So, in summary, don't worry about it. Get the rust sorted out and enjoy it.
Yeah, I agree.
Yes. So from there, should we roll into another listener's question?
No, I don't know what. Yeah, I don't know anything about.
Oh, yeah, this is a surprise.
A surprise one. So,
springing this one on you.
Okay.
Right. Patrick from Oxford says, "Hi guys, great podcast by the way. Cheers, Patrick."
Do you know what I like about these listeners?
They're very complimentary.
Yeah, everyone loves the LRM podcast, so thank you guys.
My interest in Land Rovers begun earlier this year when I started watching a YouTube channel on a beautiful 110 camper. The YouTube channel is called Somewhere Wilder.
Hey, I've met those guys.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, wicked. Anyway, beautiful 110 camper, looks like the coolest thing ever. I'm going to come into some money soon, so my fantasies of buying a Land Rover have been running wild. I bought Land Rover monthly, started listening to your podcast. I've been really enjoying both of them. I currently deliver cars for a living, so your podcast has been keeping me company on many a long journey. Well, cheers, Patrick. My question's about buying my first Land Rover. We've had a few of these, haven't we?
Yes.
I've got no idea what to go for in terms of price, age, mileage, etc. My long-term plan is to own a 110 and convert it to a camper in the next 5 years or so, by which time my 13-year-old daughter will have left school and I might have more time to travel. I was wondering if it might be a good idea to start with a 90 as my daily driver, just to get to grips with the experience of owning a Land Rover. It seems to be that age, etc. Doesn't necessarily have to be. He's not worried about how old it is, because you can fit new bits and restore them. My question is, should I invest in a newer classic model, so a newer Defender, I guess a Puma or a TD5,
Okay.
with fewer miles on the clock, in hope it retains its value when I come to sell, when I want to swap for a cheaper 110, so he has cash left over to do the conversion?
I would say that would be on the proviso he buys a 90 to begin with.
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
My budget could be anything up to £20,000 to £30,000. Is it worth spending that much? How much will it depreciate? Or is it better to go for an older, cheaper model? Right, straight off the bat,
Yeah.
I bet your thoughts are similar to mine.
Well, Well, okay, let's go in there.
Go on.
I wouldn't waste my time with a 90.
Yep.
I would straight away go and buy the 110.
Yep.
The best you can find.
Yep.
And spend time with it and slowly evolve. So the camper that you build today might be a different, you might want a different version. So you might, for example, fit a rooftop tent to a 110.
Okay.
To go camping here and now. And then you can get awnings like I've got with drop down sides. You can take your daughter on holiday, etc. And you can do all those things. But then when you want to travel more and further afield, you might then spend another few £1,000s and do an Icarus roof conversion.
Oh, like
the entire roof comes up.
Pop-up roof, yeah.
Yeah, which is a completely new thing, and you sleep in the roof space, and you don't have to leave your vehicle. You can stand in it. I have a 90, and more often than not, I want a 110.
Okay.
Quite often, I've thought to myself, I wish this was a 110, because 90s are really small. They're only really 2 seats.
Yeah, yeah.
Even the forward-facing rear seat conversions, you've got no load space whatsoever. The passengers in the back are in the roof space, they can't see out.
Yeah.
It's hideous, really. I would buy a 110 counter station wagon, so you can use it as a family car.
Yeah.
You've got the budget to do it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you will easily get a tidy one for that money.
You would. Mileage... Anyway, I'm kicking off here, but what are you thinking?
I started on the same route as you.
And then went off on a different...
My thoughts are, if you want a 110, or you know you're going to want a 110, just buy a 110.
Yeah, agreed.
But where we differ, I would buy one that's already been converted to a camper. The reason for that is, if you buy one that's already converted, not only are you going to save loads of money over preparing it yourself, because that's generally the case, but if the vehicle's already been used for a few trips, either that's in the UK or abroad, you know that setup works.
Yeah.
I would also say, go on landrovermonthly.co.uk and pick up a copy of the September issue, which has got a big camping and overlanding section in it, which explores all the pros and cons of pop-top, rooftop tent, and dormobile conversion.
Oh, of course.
Because that is probably all the information you will ever need to choose which way to go. What do you think to my suggestion?
Some people like to do the project themselves.
Yes.
Because part of the fun is researching things, fitting it out themselves. For example, I follow somebody on YouTube called True Blue Travellers, and at the moment they're doing a 6x6 pinch scour.
Oh, yeah.
Fire truck.
Yeah.
And they do a weekly episode every Saturday. Check them out. But then, anyway, the reason I mention those guys is they have a 110 and that they did for a trip to, I think they went to Iceland, did it? I can't remember. But anyway, they're now selling their Icarus roof converted 110. Top bit of kit this is. And I noticed it advertised it for £50,000. But it's a Puma engine one.
Right.
Immaculate.
Okay.
But what would you buy with that budget? 25 to 30,000. That would buy an already converted TD5, wouldn't it?
Yeah, you're not
really good 300 TDI.
You're not right up in the upper echelons of freshly built conversions.
No, you would definitely need 50 to 50,000 really.
That said,
40 to 60.
What you do find quite a lot of the time is people who have built the vehicle up, used it for what they want, done the trips they want. When they come to sell it, it's normally like they can be on the market for quite a while just because they're so specific. Like you wouldn't necessarily daily drive a complete, total, dedicated overland truck every day, would you?
No, not really. Not with all the cabinetry and everything else in the back.
Yeah. And because of that...
Depends what kind of trips.
Yeah, he's not going to go into... It just says he might have more time to travel, so he doesn't really say how far he wants to go or what kind of...
We're thinking like around the world expedition truck is somewhat different to one built for UK camping.
Yeah. Another good point to make is he mentions miles, something cheaper with more miles on it, potentially more risk of breaking down. Mileage means nothing in Land Rovers. You need to buy on condition and how well they've been looked after. And as an extreme example of that, I remember when I was working in the dealer, we had an environmental agency 110 come in, and it had only been sent out. It was brand new, all like sink in the back, really nice thing. It had come back less than 1,000 miles after it had gone out, and through no fault of, well, kind of was someone's fault because they should have checked it on PDI, but it had no oil in the front diff. So the prop shaft was just flapping around and
Nice.
the axle was screaming. But, you know, that should have been checked. It wasn't. The same goes for any mileage from 0 up to, you know, whatever, 500,000. It's all about how well they're looked after.
And if it's an earlier model, it's probably had a rebuilt engine anyway.
Potentially. Might be on a galvanised chassis.
Yeah. Really is a world your oyster, but if you're early into it, don't rush in.
Yeah.
To buying the first thing you see. Have a really, really good look around. We always get talking about buying Land Rovers, don't we?
I know. We get a lot of questions.
Yeah, we do get a lot. Yeah, and ultimately, it's where it's at.
I'm going to give the mag another shout out here. If you're going to go into buying a Defender, check out the dedicated Defender buying guide issue, which was the March issue, I believe, 2024. It's got a huge section in it about Defenders and body styles and engines and what to look for and what to buy and what not to buy. So go on the website and grab yourself a copy of that. Because there's, you know, there's a lot of information in there.
But I always said, with it, regardless of budgets, if we all went out here, like the Land Rover team here, if we all went out and with the same budget, we'd all come back with a completely different vehicle, wouldn't we?
Yeah, definitely.
Different engines, different wheelbases.
You sort of hone your preferences over time, don't you? You learn what you like and what you don't like, what you love, other people might not be interested in, and, you know, the other way around.
And the vehicle that you build or buy now might not be the vehicle you want in 5 years.
Yeah.
But I would definitely start with a 110.
Definitely.
Probably a counter-safety wagon, so you've got seats in the back.
Yeah, because you can actually, well, if you, depending on how hardcore overlander you're making that, you could take the back seats out and use the side doors for
access to fridges and
just the way you can't with a Discovery 3-door.
No, definitely.
So, yeah, arm yourself with knowledge and see what you like and test drive a few. You get a good feeling from when it's a good one and when it isn't. So take someone with you who knows about Land Rovers.
Take us.
You're going to go with Patrick, I
don't know. Probably not.
But yeah, any other questions, give us a shout because we like to help.
Yeah. Good.
On the subject of buying, I was thinking about this the other day. What's the worst Land Rover you've ever bought?
Oh, wow.
I've sort of sprung that on you.
You have.
I've had a couple of shockers.
I have got a shocking one.
Go on.
I have got a shocking one, actually.
Right. It's not your 90 that you own now, is it?
No, it's probably one of the best ones.
Yeah, I think it's nice.
Years and years ago. It's always years ago with me, isn't it? Many years ago.
So old. That's
yeah, exactly. In my day. Yeah.
When dinosaurs ruled the earth.
So I had a Series 3. That I've mentioned this one before. I bought a Series 3, 2.5 litre naturally aspirated 109 at auction in the dark.
Well, they are the ideal conditions,
yeah.
Aren't they?
And it was brilliant. Loved it. Nothing wrong with it. Really reliable. Did about 30 to the gallon. And my girlfriend at the time dumped me. Can you believe that?
No, I can't.
No, I can't.
Steve. I don't know
anyway, she sort of like, she was fed up of going around in a Series 3 Land Rover and going to Land Rover shows, even back then. So obviously she wasn't a keeper. So my knee-jerk reaction to that was, sod it, I'm going to go and buy a V8.
Oh, I did that once.
Right.
Anyway.
So, yeah. So I thought to myself, I want a V8 Range Rover.
Wise choice.
Yeah. Well, when you're 18, 19 I was.
Okay.
And I looked at, there used to be this magazine called Free Ads, Diamond Free Ads, bright yellow newspaper that used to come out every Thursday.
Okay.
And in it was a 3-door V8 Range Rover, 1978. So something perfect. Rushed over there, turned up. It's always worrying when the vehicle you're about to look at is already running on the drive, isn't it?
Yeah, that's a bad sign.
Yeah, but not when you're 19. You hear the grumble of a V8, think, this is fantastic.
You're sold already.
It had a mud terrain tyres.
Okay.
But only like 750. No, not 750s. the original size. What was that?
205.
205s, yeah. But mud terrain versions.
All right.
Steel road style wheels.
Nice.
Been off-roaded.
Okay.
Looked underneath, and I took Pete with me. He was only my mate, Pete. He was only 17. And his dad had a four-door Range Rover as well. We looked at the chassis. It was absolutely mint.
Okay.
No rust. Oh, look at this. We've got brilliant. Laid on none of these things. We're buying it. It was £850. Picked it up the week later. Had to get it insured. And it was rotten as a carrot. We didn't even look at the because we just thought, a chassis sausage. Yeah, cause that's what we'd read in the magazines. Yeah, you inspect the chassis. We did that, okay, but we forgot to look at the sills and the inner arches and everything else.
Right.
Anyway, picked it up, and all this sort of smoke kept coming through the bulkhead driving it home, and it was awful. And it was basically the engine was just done. It was so the compression,
like breathing heavy.
Yeah, breathing heavy. So when you take inspect
when you take the oil filter,
it was just
levitates like
Black Death.
Oh God, yeah.
And it was absolutely awful. And in the end, it was doing 11 miles to the gallon.
Yeah.
So I couldn't really afford to go to work. But I did go to work, but I had a choice: go to work or go to the pub with my mates. It was a choice. Couldn't afford both. That was the worst car I ever bought.
So what happened to it then in the end?
Well, fun enough, there was an SD1 Rosa, high compression Rover Vitesse that my mate, who also worked at a garage, another mate, and he said, you can buy the engine out of that if you want.
Right.
For 150 quid. I mean, a bargain.
That is a bargain, yeah.
We fitted that engine, but just couldn't get it running quite right. So we sold it.
Oh.
And that was a donor for another Range Rover.
Oh, fair enough.
Well, that was the worst one I ever bought.
Okay.
Properly bad. So I lost all my money, really.
Yeah, but when you're young, it's just one of them, isn't it?
Yeah.
I had a couple. I had another Range Rover, actually. It was a really, really long-term customer that we had when I worked at the dealer. A lovely old boy. He used to have this 3.9 Range Rover with the Brooklands kit. It was Ardennes green, the nice. Brooklands body kit.
Yeah.
And that got traded in. And obviously, I don't know the ins and outs of it because I wasn't in sales, but I'd imagine they gave him pennies for it. He was getting on. He was quite old. And he got a Freelander 2, a wise choice. And this Range
Rover still going now, the Freelander 2.
I expect it is, yeah. I think it was an i6 as well, the petrol one.
Oh, it probably isn't then.
No, it will be. They're a good car.
Are they?
Yeah, I like the i6. Anyway, so it was round the back. We couldn't do anything with it. We couldn't retail it because it was ancient and, horrible. The auction didn't even want it. So I spoke to it had like no MOT on it when you traded it in. So I was like, went and spoke to the sales guy, and he was like, you give us 300 quid, you can take it away. So I was like, sweet. And then I was young.
Yeah.
I thought, delusions of grandeur about turning it into like a off-road type build. I bought tubular bumpers for it. I bought BF Goodrich mud terrains on 8 spokes and cut the arches out. Again, similar to yourself, paid absolutely no attention whatsoever to the structural integrity of the body.
How bad it was, yeah.
And had a friend come over who actually bought another Range Rover off. But anyway, he came round to inspect it because he did bodywork for a living. And he just looked at me and was like, you're not fixing this. This is bad. It shouldn't even be on the road. It's like every part of it that rusts on them was just not there. It was horrific. It ran beautifully. And it still had the air suspension on it that worked.
Yeah.
I think I ended up putting it on eBay for like 450 quid just to cover my transport costs. But that was a bad one. The other one, which was actually my daily driver for over a year, was the second vehicle, the second Land Rover I ever owned. And it was it wasn't ex-military. It was painted in ex-military. It was like military green with a white roof. 2.5 turbo diesel 110. Hard top.
Right, yeah.
And it was horrendous to start. It was like, it had, when you have to hold the key on to work the glow plugs.
Oh, yes, yeah.
You had to do that for
a few times.
Oh, yeah. And when I started it, obviously I was living at home. I used to back it down my parents' driveway and the exhaust pointed straight at the vent in the side of the house. So it would just fill the lounge up.
Awesome.
Every morning with smoke. It just billowed, like it would run on 2 cylinders, and then you'd get the third one, and then after a bit the fourth one would come in, and it had a big hole cut in the middle of the hard top, I think for shooting out of. I think it had been a shooting wagon at some point.
Okay.
And before they'd sold it, they'd literally got the piece they'd cut out and like mass-sticked it back in, so it
quality repair.
lashed water in. And it was very slow, and you had to work it really hard to go anywhere. And
those 2.5 diesels, those early 2.5 litre diesels, turbo diesels are pretty. I mean, I know there's a bit of a following. There'll be listeners now that go, "Oh, I've got one. There's nothing wrong with it."
Well, they're contemporary now. Like they're quite cool to find an original one.
Well, you don't see them because they're all taken away and TDI swapped. Yeah. I used to drive one every day, a turbo diesel one but I used to do logging.
Yeah.
In an earlier life, and going up the A1 towing a Life of Williams double axle trailer full of logs. Wow,
it was smoke itself along. Yeah, it was smoke. Every time you worked it hard to try and go up a hill, you'd watch the temp gauge just climb.
Yeah, this one did that. Temperature gauge, and I'd be down to 4th gear, possibly 3rd, on the A1. Can you imagine this? And the smoke would just bellow out. The damn thing. It was horrible.
Other than that, they're a sweet running engine because they're not direct injection. They don't have that clatter that a TDI has. They run like they're reasonably quiet for a diesel engine. Same with the non-turbo, actually. But just so glacially slow. And so, I mean, obviously I was, 18, 19 at the time, so I'd drive it everywhere absolutely flat to the floor because it was slow and I was impatient. But I had some good times in that. I did a lot of camping in it. It was, big enough in the back to sleep in, and, went fishing in it a lot and did a bit of green laning. Used to go to wild tracks.
Fishing?
Yeah, years ago. I've not been for ages. Still got all my stuff.
Oh, really?
But, yeah. But then after that, I got my TD5, which was like worlds apart. And that was like big intercooler remap straight through exhaust. And it was like 3 times the power the old 19J was.
Yeah, good change, good swap.
Yeah, more expensive, but much better.
But okay. Anyway, it's probably now we should hear a message from our sponsor.
Yes, indeed.
We're proud to partner with Adrian Flux, an insurance broker that specialises in covering all types of Land Rovers, including classic, ex-military, modified and Q-plated models. Adrian Flux offers a range of optional extras to make the policy your own and can provide cover for off-roading, green laning, agreed value and build-up cover. Plus, they even offer a discount of up to 15% for Owners Club members. Simply search Adrian Flux Land Rover Insurance for more information or call them directly on 0344 728 0417 for a quote.
So now we're back. So thank you to that Adrian Flux.
Thank you very much, Adrian Flux, for sponsoring this week's podcast.
It means we can sit here next week.
Yeah, it does.
Rabbit on about buying more Land Rovers. Because do you find that we talk about buying Land Rovers a lot?
Well, we were just saying the trouble is, we can't get away from it because we seem to get a lot of questions. But
it's important.
It is important.
I mean, obviously, our last message there, somebody that's never ever owned a Land Rover has approached us for our consumer advice.
Yeah.
So we like getting the questions, and it's nice that we have listeners that aren't our ordinary readers of the magazine. They're new to it. So it's refreshing to see new people are coming into the hobby that is owning and driving Land Rovers.
Absolutely. I mean, you only have to spend 5 minutes on Instagram to see that a lot more, oh God, I sound old, a lot more younger people are getting into Land Rovers now because they do so much.
Yeah, they do. And they're cool.
They are cool. That's actually my next question, really. I was looking forward to next year because obviously I'm going to be working out a few little footballs and things on the Series 3, but I want to do a big trip in it when it's finished, and I can't decide where to go.
I've been flying a V8.
I don't mind it because I only do a big trip in it once in a blue moon. I'm fitting an overdrive, so that will help a little bit.
Do you know where I reckon you should go?
Go on.
North Coast 500 in Scotland.
Do you think?
Yeah, I've never done it. Our ex-editor, Patrick, he's travelled to loads of different countries, in Land Rovers,
Yes.
various magazine shoots, etc. And he maintains that the North Coast 500 was one of the best places he's ever driven a Land Rover.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, I must give it a go.
The scenery is just something else.
I did Land's End to John O'Groats many years ago in an Austin Allegro of all things. Don't ask. Actually, a very underrated car. But anyway, not a Land Rover.
You've said that before on this podcast.
Have I?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, sorry,
yeah. I had a deja vu moment there.
But yeah, up in the very highlands of Scotland, absolutely stunning scenery, and I would love to go back up there. So maybe that will be the way forward. The only thing about going to Scotland is there's no green laning because it's all private land.
Yeah, and they don't like you going off piste today. So, like, if you
have to get
wild camps, you can wild camp. You can't take a car off the road to wild camp.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
you walk. I've done Sky, but that was on my motorbike. Two or three years ago. Stunning scenery. But having said that, we rode there in April, thinking that you could get away with a t-shirt down here. We were riding through blizzard, so
really,
be mindful of the weather. It's definitely colder up there. But I would do North Coast 500.
I'll bear that in mind, certainly. I do remember I've been to Scotland quite a few times.
It's probably a 2,000 mile journey from here.
Well, last time
500 miles to Inverness, isn't it?
Yes, something.
Then 500 miles round, and 500 miles down.
I better start saving.
That's 1,500 miles, isn't it?
That's a lot of thanks to mental, that is. Well, last time I went up to Scotland on a proper trip, we went to Glencoe and around that area, obviously where they shot Skyfall.
Yeah.
And that was, I think by the time we got home again, we'd done 1,300 miles.
Yeah, I think I did 1,200 or 1,300 miles to Skye and back.
Yeah. But no, I love Scotland. Love Scotland. I really also, next year, I've been saying it for the last few years and I still haven't made it there because it's clashed with other things. I want to go to Muck and Tear.
I was just going to say that.
I would love to go to Muck and Tear, yeah. Roy Duffy went with Empire Tuning last year, I think it was, and did a feature for the mag, and it looks awesome.
Yeah, it does look really, really good.
For those,
just part of a national park in France.
Yeah, it's a huge French national park, which is mostly sand dunes and things like that, and woodland. And they open it up. It's like a tour. Follow the leader, basically, isn't it? A tour guide will lead you through on a quad, I believe it is, and you have 3 goes at each obstacle, and then you have to bypass. But there's all sorts of
climbs comes down, and you start damaging the ground if you can't make it.
Yeah, I mean
that's what I do it for, isn't it?
It's mostly sand, but you could dig huge holes if you didn't.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really, really want to go there. So maybe that'd be one for the.
That'd be cheaper to go there in fuel than it would to be Scotland.
Well, from where we are, yeah, it would.
Yeah,
it's a lot shorter journey to Dover, isn't it?
Mm.
And it's only an hour or 2 hours from Calais, I believe. Muck and Tear.
Yeah, it's not far along. It's not far at all.
Should we do it? Should we go to Muck and Tear next year?
Very easy trip.
Yeah,
weekend.
Happy days.
Okay, that's that done.
Where else do you want?
Is this before or after we do trialing that we haven't yet sorted out?
Oh, listen, it all comes in. Rome wasn't built in a day, Steve. We'll get these things in the diary.
Yeah, okay. Well, you see, Neil Watson, he drove to Spain, didn't he? To the
Les King's Land Rover party.
Is that on again next year?
I think it is.
It's every other year, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not sure. It might be.
So I think it'll be next 2025. It'll be back on.
Maybe we'll have to do that as well.
Yeah, because that's all that scene.
Not sure I'll take the Series 3 to that, because that is quite a jaunt.
Well, like your turbo in the 302 is going to get you there.
Oh, God. If I had a pound for every time you said my turbo was going to blow up, I'd have enough money to buy a new turbo.
How much is a new turbo?
I think they vary. Probably about 500 quid.
Okay. So not...
But it's fine anyway. Freelander's on form again. Touch wood.
Good.
But... yeah, I mean, further afield-wise, I love watching videos of people in Canada and Australia, and that Seriously series in Australia do a cracking travel series, and there's all sorts of stuff, and it does just make you want to jump in the Land Rover and go and find adventure. It's so cool.
Driving a Series 3 to Australia from here would be rather costly.
And I don't think you'd be able to move when you got there. Your back would be as much as you make out yours is.
Yeah. I think... I'm quite envious of the Australians with what they have available to them.
The scene over there, the four-wheel driving scene in general, is just like the stuff dreams are made of. I think our little spit of rock in the ocean that is the UK is like is tiny.
They can just drive for days and days and days.
Yeah, the terrain.
Off-road.
Yeah, the huge wide open spaces. It really does make you want to get on a plane, go over there and have a look, see what it's all about. But again, I've said it before, in America, like Oregon and some fantastic looking scenery to go and drive. But the important thing is people are out there doing it in Land Rovers.
Yeah. And hopefully listening to this podcast while doing it.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
That'd be good. What are we up to then? We've got another couple of busy weeks coming up, haven't we?
We have. Like tomorrow.
Tomorrow, yeah, we've got a double whammy of Land Rover goodness, haven't we?
So, Tomcat Motorsport, people may have heard of them.
Yes. Famous for their, motorsport, Land Rover-based motorsport vehicles. So the Tomcat, like 88, 100-inch, 110-inch wheelbase, sort of a blend of Land Rover chassis, but with fiberglass panels and roll cage, things like that. We're going to go and see them, aren't we?
We're going to see them tomorrow morning because they've got new owners.
Yeah.
But the original owner is still involved in the business, so they're going to create new vehicles. So we're going to have a look at their latest offerings.
They do a few accessories and things as well. I think they do like dashboard designs and coverings and things like that. I've seen.
Yeah.
So it'd be really interesting to go and have a look around there. And they've got a sort of off-road course on the go as well, haven't they?
They have for tomorrow.
Right.
They have access to it, so we're going to go round in one tomorrow.
Oh, wicked.
Yeah. Did you not know?
No. That sounds...
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
So what we'll do, we'll take our GoPro and we'll film it and stick it on the Land Rover Monthly's YouTube page.
Yeah, sounds good.
I don't know when it will be uploaded. Hey, sit to that. It's up to you.
Yeah. We've got a bit to do, haven't we? So...
And then we leave there and we go straight to the LRO show.
Yes, yeah. We'll swing by Beaver on the way back and see what all that's about.
Yeah.
I'm sure many of you will be going there. And, yeah, we'll
catch up with all of our friends and all our clubs that we know. And
yeah, it's a good
look. It is nice to see the people who support us at our shows at the LRM Live.
Definitely. Yeah, absolutely. And, we'll I'm sure we'll see lots of familiar faces, and if you see us, say hello. Although by the time you listen to this, it will have happened. So unless you've mastered time travel in some way, you won't be able to. But
if you did say hello, nice to see you.
Exciting news.
More exciting news.
Very exciting news, which you may or may not have seen on our socials. We've got stickers now. We've got LRM podcast stickers. So you don't look that excited, Steve.
Well, only because I haven't stuck mine anyway yet.
Stick it somewhere if you don't. Yeah, we'll walk around with some stickers.
You gonna say some stickers?
Yeah.
Yeah. So basically, if we like you and you met us, you
can have a sticker. And please do, if you apply it, please tag us when you put it on your stick it wherever you stick it, and then put it on your social media, and we'll give you some love.
Yeah.
Spread the love.
While we're on the subject of shows, it's probably worth mentioning that. So in about 3 weeks from you listening to this, if you're listening to this on the day it launches, we have the Newbury Big Spares Day, Newbury 4x4 Spares Day.
Yes.
At the showground there. And that is on the Sunday, the 6th of October. And that is now the biggest 4x4 Land Rover auto jumble in the world.
Yeah.
In the world. Sounds like Jeremy Clarkson. But you're well worth going to.
Probably going to get bored of hearing us banging on about the Spares Days in the next couple of weeks. But honestly, if you've never been to a Spares Day before, Newbury is the one to go to because it is enormous.
It is. It's over about 25 acres.
Yeah.
And it's covered in trade stands.
Yeah. Anything for Series 1. There's a couple of people who specialise in early Series 1 stuff that you will not find anywhere else.
And you may never see again. I mean, you're a classic case of pinpoint here, right? So 2 occasions recently you've talked to me about parts that you've missed out on at the show.
That I wished I'd bought, yeah.
Yeah.
Do you know what one of them was? A V8 manifold with studs.
And you should have sort of bought. So basically what you're saying is, and what I said to you is, you should, when you see these things, just buy them.
Yeah.
You can always resell them again.
Yeah, true.
So one thing to note, you don't have to be a professional seller to sell at our events.
No,
you can't just be a member of the public that's accumulated a load of old Land Rover parts that you no longer need.
As we all do.
Have a clear out. Yeah, you've seen the state of my yard and I've seen the state of yours.
Sure.
We have stuff that we need to sell.
Yes.
book a trade stand, and then sell it. And that gives you more money to buy the stuff that you actually do need.
Yes.
But there are actually 3 events in the month of October. So 6th of October, we've got Newbury.
Yep.
The following weekend, for our friends up in the north, with the Ripon Racecourse.
Yes, yeah.
So that's Sunday the 13th.
A great little event indeed.
I love that one.
It's such a picturesque
It's
place.
smaller than Newbury,
Yeah.
for obvious reasons. But what I like about that one is you get not so much the size of it, but it's the people. You get people that don't travel to Newbury. So it's stuff you've never seen before.
Got you.
People you've never seen before.
Yeah, sure.
Farmers having clear outs of all their agri-jump. We call it agri-jump.
Agri-jump.
They've old tractors.
Well, this is it, isn't it? In the near future, we're going to be diversifying slightly into more of that.
We do, absolutely, because we know that a lot of our listeners, a lot of our readers of the magazine also own tractors.
Yes.
And bits and pieces. So why restrict it to Land Rover 4x4?
If you're into Land Rovers, you're into other interesting stuff, generally speaking.
Bit of vintage, milk churns and bits of old documents and enamel signs. Yeah.
Yeah, Steve, you're a sucker for an enamel sign. And an oil can. You love an oil can.
Who doesn't?
I like oil.
If you don't like oil cans, are you really a petrolhead?
It's stuff to decorate your workshop with, isn't it? With your garage or your bedroom or your kitchen or your downstairs loo. Just crack on.
Yeah.
Go and buy some good stuff. But that's not all, is it, Steve? We've got Newbury, we've got Ripon, and then
on the Sunday, the 27th of October, we're at the 3 County Showground for the indoor 4x4 Land Rover Spares Day there.
Happy day.
I mean, that's 3 events. So basically, go to all 3 of them, spend all your money.
Yeah, three opportunities to sell stuff you don't need and then buy more stuff you don't need.
You could buy it at Newbury on the Sunday, sell it at Ripon the following week.
What's not to like?
Yeah.
Oh, I love the Spares Days. I'm actually really excited for this year. It feels like ages since the last one. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, we tend to have, apart from our 2-day show at Malvern in May, we tend to have
live.
LRM Live. Yeah, we tend to have the summer off, and we work quite closely with the Billing Off-Road show. But apart from that, the Spares Days tend to be top and tail of the summer.
Yes.
So winter time, autumn time.
So yeah, October obviously you can go and buy all your bits, and then you're all set to crack on with your projects over winter.
That's kind of the idea.
Yeah.
The last bits, and then by summertime you're showing your vehicles, you're going on camping trips or whatever you were
planning your next project for the next winter.
Yeah. And
then you can do it all over again. I love it. You'll see me there walking around probably.
Yeah, missing out on all the stuff that you wish you should have bought.
Well, this is it, you see. That's gonna be my New Year's resolution, but I'm gonna start it early. I'm just gonna, if I see something I think I need, I'm just gonna buy it now.
You should.
Yeah, I should have bought those manifolds and that gearbox. Do you remember at
Malvern? Stubby, wasn't it? LT77.
Yeah, it was a TDI LT77, so the short bell housing.
Yeah.
Out of a 90 or a 110. I should have bought.
Is that what I've got?
No, you've got Discovery. You've got 300 TDI box, haven't you?
No, I've got LT77.
Have you?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't remember.
Had it reconditioned at Ashcroft's. Still sits there.
Yeah, has that got a bell housing?
Yeah. Not attached to the gearbox there.
Oh, I don't know if I've seen it.
Yeah.
What was it out of? 2.5?
My early 2.5, yeah.
Yeah, it would be then.
Oh, right.
Yeah, it'd be a short bell housing, yeah.
Yeah,
that's all right. So I'll just come around and steal that then. And you can put Discovery box in. How does that sound?
No, because everything's in the wrong place then.
Are you putting on a 300 engine?
Yeah, it's been on a 300 engine before.
No, you want a 300. You want an R380.
No, you don't.
Yeah, you want
No, because I spent a few £100 having it reconditioned.
Yeah, you want R380, Steve. I'll take that off your hands.
No, because the mounts are in the wrong place.
No.
No, I'm not doing it.
No, you need an R380. I'll give you £200 for that rebuilt LT.
Yeah. Yeah, pull the other one. Anyway,
on that crushing blow,
rebuilt all its life, but it sits there. It's not even in.
You'll have to blow the dust off it too, or I don't know, get all the boxes off it that you've stacked up on top of it.
Yeah, but my there's nothing stacked on it. But Pete, my mate, has rebuilt my LT230 transfer box, and that is now back at home.
You've got no excuse then.
Well, yeah,
put together.
So when you come in,
when my Land Rover's finished.
Oh my goodness,
that'll be days though, or weeks, not months or years.
Okay,
yeah, I hope anyway.
Yeah, I do need to get that. I say that. You know what? The podcast. Every time we record a podcast. It reminds me, I've got this project that I kind of said.
A project update on Steve's stuff, and it's
nothing
absolutely pointless because nothing moves forward. But my bulkhead foot turned up today. I got a text, so
well done.
a YRM order has been delivered, so I'll be sticking that onto my bulkhead and then
Sticking it?
with a welder, yeah, hot metal glue gun.
You're not going to be welding it?
I'll probably get Ben over to do it because I want it to actually stay on.
I mean, I can weld.
I'll get Ben to do it.
Okay, I'll listen to you.
Well, on that bombshell, we'd like to thank Adrian Flux Insurance for sponsoring this week's podcast once again.
And we'll catch you all next week and tell you how we get on at Tomcat Motorsport and
the LRO show.
Yeah, come and see us at the LRO show. We'll be wandering around.
Come and grab a sticker.
Yeah.
Happy days.
I might not have any, but ours in more.
I'll deal the stickers out.
Okay.
Happy days. Right, see you next week then.
Bye for now. How long's that?